All right, what's good, everybody? Welcome, welcome. Hope you're having a great Monday to start. We're doing all right here today. Got everything set up. Got our new mic locked in. Hopefully it sounds good for you. And we're going to go ahead and get started here today. So I wanted to work on some specific tips for you. I think each month what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to give you specific tips. And the reason for it is I hate the general advice, right? I like it as sort of getting you going, getting you motivated, but I really want to focus more on specific advice, specific tips, at least within what I'm allowed to do. So today we're talking about retirement investing. We're going to be talking about the specific tips for that. If you're one of our customers, tomorrow night, I know it's sort of before the holiday and everything, but tomorrow night we're going to be covering candlesticks, right? So if you're one of our customers, we do weekly classes for you. I try to do them every single week where we do something that we can teach you you might not know already. Something about investing, trading, saving, personal finance, budgeting, things like that. So we're going to be doing that one. Check it out. I believe it starts at about 7 p.m. Eastern time. Or did we push this one back? Check the events tab and we'll keep talking about it, of course. Also on our, we're doing the updates now, the stock market updates at 5 o'clock. So that we have time to kind of prepare because we're going to be doing some huge changes there. Super, super excited about what's going on there. But you're here to talk about investing today and some specific tips. So I want to get started on this and not waste any time. Rule number one, all right, if you're taking notes or whatever. Rule number one, what I want to talk about is really ignore the rules of thumb, okay? You know, you hear all the different rules of thumb of things you should do, how you should invest, how you should save your money. But the bottom line is it's got to come down to you. We have technology these days. We have calculators. We have everything you need to figure out what is best for you, not as a general rule of thumb. A good example, actually, and this one's funny. I'm going to actually share this one with you. If you're a financial advisor or you want to become a financial advisor, one of the things that they teach you, I swear to you, that they teach financial advisors this. Here, let's just do it on the board. They tell the financial advisors, okay, first you write down 100. Then you write the minus sign, right? Then you call the client and you say, hey client, how old are you? Client says, I'm 50. Then you do the math. 100 minus 50 equals 50, and what would be left over is 50. So what that means is you take 100 minus the client's age, and that tells you the ratio of stocks to bonds that the customer should have. So 100 minus, oh my God, I'm 40. That leaves you with 60. And in case you're wondering, you just take that number and you put it over there. And this customer should have 60-40 stocks to bonds. That's how they teach people. This is ridiculous. This doesn't make any sense at all. This is a rule of thumb that they teach financial advisors. Now, thankfully, I don't know any financial advisors that actually use that. The reason why someone would use this is because they don't know the stats. They don't know that the stock market, on average, when it falls, it only falls for 196 days on average. That's going back to 1950. So if we go back to 1950, 196. If you go to 1978, then it's 168. So if you know the stats on when the market falls, how long it takes, and then how long it takes to recover, then why are you investing so conservatively at 50 years old? If you have more than 10 years left to go, then you can afford to take more risk. So that one really bugs me, that sort of general thumb. That could cost you so much money if you followed that advice. So please, if any advisor, anybody ever says, well, what we do is we take 100 minus your age, and that's how we come up with it. No, they don't know the stats. They don't know what to do. Another one is the 4% rule. Have you ever heard that one? I did a video on this one, I think, a while back. I know there's a lot of them out there. The 4% withdrawal rule, right? And this just means when you retire, you should be able to withdraw about 4% of your income a year, and your money will outlive you. So if you had $1 million in retirement, go ahead and take $40,000 out each year, and your money should still be able to grow, and of course you'll outlive, or your money will outlive you. You will die before your money runs out. I don't know. So to me, you know, it's a starting point, but don't you want to know how much ahead of time you're supposed to have? So wouldn't you want to know, hey, I actually want like $80,000 or $100,000 or so much per month in retirement? Wouldn't you rather know that and drill it down even further? So things like this, these general sort of rules really bug me. The other one is, what's his name? Dave Ramsey with the 4 mutual funds. If that is good for you, then why? Like specifically why? You know why he tells you those 4 mutual funds is because that fits the largest crowd of his audience. So if his audience were older people, then he would be telling you different funds. If his crowd were younger people, he'd be telling you different funds. But because the base of his audience is a certain age, he knows that that's pretty good for about everybody. That should be good enough. But if they're so good, then which funds are you supposed to choose? Like, why wouldn't you share that? So we actually share with our customers, hey, these are all the stocks that we're in because we know it will do this. So, you know, that one bugs me a little bit there as well. So, number 1, avoid the rules of thumb, right? Go specific. Do what, I can't talk and write at the same time. Right? Do what's specifically right for you. If you're one of our customers, use Nest Egg. Go in there and plug away, have fun, you know, click around if you have any questions or need any help, you know where to find me. That's rule number 1. Okay, rule number 2, be aggressive. Be super, super aggressive when you can. When can you be aggressive? When you have more than 10 years left to retirement, because we can show the statistics that show that you'll be fine if you have more than 10 years left to retirement, okay? 196 days is how long the average market decline lasts. Now, let's do a fun one here. Where's my paper? Right? And that's why I make this towel, by the way. That's why I'm sending this out to our customers. If you want one of these towels, let me know. I'll send it to you. My daughter's going crazy filling these out. The markets recover 100% of all declines 100% of the time. It's a simple, silly way for you to realize you can be aggressive if you have long enough until retirement, and you're going to be, you know, just fine, basically. Everything's going to work out just fine. So let's do this one. Let's say you're being aggressive in 2007 through 2009. Boy, that was a tough time, right? 2007 to 2009. You know how long the markets fell for during that span, right? How long that decline was? 517 days. Worst on record. No time in history, or at least since we've been alive, has the markets fallen for so long, over, you know, obviously almost 2 years. And how far did they drop if you had to suffer that worst decline in history? How far did the markets fall? 57%. That's a long one, right? How much did they recover? And did they recover? So yes, they did recover. Of course, we know they recovered. But how much did they recover? You got all your money back plus another 100%. So keep that in mind. The worst one on record. We thought the world was over. We thought the U.S. really did it this time. Like, this was the one where, you know, those commercials for the gold people, and they're like, put your money in gold. Gold didn't do anything during that time period, by the way, so those people have no room to stand either. But be aggressive while you still have time, because, yeah, it took 10 years, or not even 10 years, right? 7 years to get to where we're at. We're now 9 years higher. So be aggressive because you know the statistics. Don't be aggressive because someone told you to. Don't buy 4 mutual funds because someone told you to. Buy them because you know the statistics, specifically for the ones you want to buy. So if you're being aggressive in the stock market, know that this makes sense. This actually is a statistic that makes sense and fits. It's not an opinion. So that's a big one right there. When you know the statistics, right, you can be like Warren Buffett. Seriously, right? You could be just like him. You don't have to worry about things because you know what the odds are of things happening, okay? So that's number 2. Be aggressive when you have time. If you have less than 10 years left to retirement, okay, we're going to start slowing this train down a little bit. We want to still get some growth, but we don't want to be super aggressive, and that's completely understandable. Number 3, you know you make money when you sell. This is like a stupid one, right? But think about it. We all want to buy as cheap as possible. I'm the same way. I want to buy a car as cheap as possible. whatever the car is that you want. You want the best deal possible. You'd love to buy the stock market when it falls. I'm right there with you. I'm one of those guys that thinks the second half of this year is going to be a rough one. But I'm excited by it because I feel like we're going to get to buy at a discount. Great, no problem. But you make money when you sell, not when you buy. And this means so many different things here. The first is when you sell a product, depending on the account that you have, that determines how much money you make. So we're going to get to that one, that's number 4 in a second, but if you're selling something in a taxable account, like at Acorns or Stash or whatever you're using, Robinhood, or you sell something in an IRA or some other tax advantage account, that's what determines how much money you make. So there's a game to play there. But the other part of it is you make or lose the money when you close the position, not when you buy it. What I mean by that is if you have a basket of investments, all of you should have a basket of investments. There's all kinds of different names in here in your portfolio. This basket has a value and will always have a value, but the basket should not be able to go to zero. And I'm really not supposed to say something can't go to zero because technically it can, but realistically, if you're invested correctly, that thing can't go to zero unless the United States goes to zero. And that's a bet I'll make. I'll make the bet that the United States will not go to zero. If it happens, and I lose all my money, I don't care, right? I'm in a country that's not worth anything anymore. We all have bigger problems to solve. So remember that when the stock market falls, that is not the time to sell. When the stock market rallies, that is not the time to sell. The time to sell is as you reduce your portfolio towards retirement. So you've got all of these positions, let's say 65 is your retirement age, you've got all of this in here wiggling around. As you get closer, we're going to slow the wiggle. And that's like the most generic way to say it. We're going to slow the wiggle so it's more protected. You see less fluctuation. That's when you start making the money. So please do not panic when the stock market falls. I just gave you the stat. 57% decline from 2007 to 2009. How many of you sold during that time period? If you sold during the time period, you regret it, right? Period. You completely regret it. Now, think about the smart people out there. We all talk about Warren Buffett. Good old Grandpa Warren Buffett out there. In 2007 through 2009, he was laughing at you. Did you ever know him prior to that to be in real estate? I mean, he had maybe like indirect holdings, but was he ever a real estate investor? Do you know Warren Buffett as a real estate investor? No. But when the stock market crashed and real estate became like a dime a dozen and everything was being sold for pennies on the dollar, who went and got into the real estate business? Warren Buffett. Is it because he wanted to flip houses? No, it's because he buys at a discount when people are fearful. So did he think that we would never recover and this would be the end of it? No, he charged in and said, this is a discount. This real estate is trading at a discount. Who cares if it was cars? He didn't care what it was. If it was trading at a discount, he was able to buy it. That's what he went into. He was laughing at you guys. I can't get out of my head this one clip that they did on CNBC, and he was chuckling at the idea that people were panicking. And everybody said, oh, it's just because he's one of those guys. He's talking his book. That's industry slang for he's trying to talk up everything so people go back and buy and he makes money. He was laughing because everybody panicked and there was no reason to panic. It was the big banks. It was their fault. It wasn't our fault. We were just living our lives, right? That's a big one. Okay, also, you make or lose money when you sell. Did you see the study that we did? We do classes for our customers, and I try to revolve them all around studies or tutorials. I do not try to revolve them around my opinion because my opinion is not what you pay me for. That's not what we're here for. You pay me for facts, statistics, and actual, stuff that helps you make money. If we did a study about Bob. We called him Bob, and we said, all right, here's the stock market, right, over since 1960s. And we said, what happened if Bob bought at the absolute high? Bob saved up his money and he bought the day before the top of a market. And we went through all the dates and everything, and we said, then Bob just rode this down. He didn't invest during this time period. He actually just saved his money in the bank, and he waited until the very next high, and he put all his money in at the high. So we did this class. We actually did dollar amounts and everything to show what day he did and everything. Then the markets crashed again. Oh, Bob's pissed. He's like, I keep saving my money. I'm doing the right thing, but I keep buying at the highs. So he waits and he saves his money again. He does not invest during the downturn. Rather, he waits for everyone to get excited again. And then he invests at the absolute high again. Market crashes. Process repeats. The question was, does Bob end up making any money? And if so, how does Bob do after buying at the absolute high? Bob ends up being a millionaire because he invested, well, at the absolute highs, but because his money still grew, Bob ends up being a millionaire by retirement, even though he bought literally at the highest tick that we could find on record, meaning the highest possible price before the decline, and so on and so on. So the point is, Bob bought at the worst possible time, but he knew, well, I don't know if he knew, we just, Bob's not real actually, but but we made money at the very end because Bob stuck through it. He got through the game. He did the right thing over time. His timing was just very, very bad, really. So the question is, what are the odds that you're going to buy at the absolute high? Pretty good. I mean, believe it or not, the odds of someone buying over, since 1960 to would have been 2017 or December of 2016. The odds of someone buying the absolute uptick is 16%. And you think, oh, that's pretty low, right? But that's 16% of the population bought at upticks right before every single downturn. That's pretty interesting, right? So for me to know that statistic, I go, I would assume that someone's going to buy the high. No problem. You know that if you buy the absolute high, it just hurts. It makes for a stressful investing period. But now you've got stats. You know that the markets do recover 100% of the time. Silly towel. You know how long they decline for. You know how it all works. So no problem. So number 3, you make money or you lose money when you sell, not when you buy. Don't worry about when you buy. Bob bought at the very highs. He didn't make any money when he bought. He lost right away every single time. But he did make money overall, so stick with that. And number 4, this one's kind of geeky here. How are we going to do this one? It's the right investments, right product for the right account. This is where we get a little crazy. So a lot of people go, I don't really need a financial advisor. I know how to invest in stuff. I like my pot stocks. I like my Bitcoin. I don't need to invest with somebody. I don't need somebody telling me what to buy. Okay, not for everybody. I don't need 1 million customers. I'm not here because I want to have 1 million customers. I'm here because I want a small group of people that I can give everything I have to and get them where they need to be. If you don't think you need help, totally cool. I'll never try to talk somebody into it. Ask anybody that I've talked to on the phone if they say they just don't see the reason why they'd need me. I say, great, keep us in mind, no problem. This is where it comes in handy. As you get more financially complicated, and through no fault of your own, you're gonna have a 401k, you're like, I know I need to do a Roth, okay, fine. Oh, cool, Robinhood, let me just buy some stuff randomly. That's pretty neat. Oh, Stash, they take the money right out of my account, or Acorns or whatever. Oh, real estate, I know I own 2 properties. I bought one, couldn't sell it, so I bought another one. As you get more financially complicated, the products that you have make all the difference in the world if you have them in the right account, okay? So the simplest example, I'm gonna erase all this, hope you're taking notes. You got your pen and paper. I know, y'all take notes, you've been writing down this whole time. So the simplest way to do this is to say, you've got a taxable account, right? Everybody knows what that is. So this is your Robinhood, or maybe you have a taxable account with us, whatever. And you've got maybe a Roth. We all know what a Roth is. If you're watching this channel, you know what a Roth is. We've talked about that a lot. So let's take a product. If you have both accounts, what should go in this one and what should go in this one? People get this one confused all the time. All the friggin' time. So where's my, I don't have my little pen thing. All right, so here's how you want to do this. We're going to go with stocks. We all know what stocks are. Should stocks go in a taxable account or should stocks go in a Roth account? So you got this account. Let's say you have $10,000 in it. I don't care what the dollar amount is. You got $10,000 over here, right? I'm not talking about the money that goes into these accounts now. Everybody focuses on the money and they go, yeah, but Dustin, I pay tax on this and then I want to pay tax on the way out. I want this one because there's no tax. You just got to do the math, right? It's okay. So now that it's time to put this $10,000 to work, should we choose stocks here or should we choose stocks here? It seems like this one's the answer, but in reality, you want to make sure your stocks are in your taxable account. You want to make sure something like REITs are in your Roth, right? Real estate investment trust. Does that make sense, right? Everybody goes, I want stocks over here because as I buy them and sell them, I don't want to pay the capital gains because the Roth IRA won't charge me anything. Over here, this is where you want them. So it's these little things like this. We're going to do actually a whole class. I'm like brainstorming here as we're talking. I'm going to go over all the numbers on all of these. We're going to do it for our customers. This will be perfect to explain why you would put different products in different accounts, because at the end of the day, if you can save 8% on taxes over here, of course this is no tax along the way, but now let's pretend this is a 401k. If you have these versus here, if you can save 8%, 10%, now with the new tax rates, 12%, then that makes all the difference in the world. So, number one, ignore the rules of thumb. Do specific stuff for you. Do the specific calculations. If you're one of our customers, use the new nest egg. Go in there and dig around, have a good time. Number two, be aggressive. You know the statistics now, right? If you're one of our customers, you know all the statistics. So, be aggressive while you're young, and who cares what happens, because it's not going to affect what happens when you get old. I promise, I won't let it happen to you. Number three, remember you make money on the sale of the product. Don't panic when the markets fall. Don't call your advisor or me and say, I want to be more conservative now that you lost half of everything. That's the wrong time. If you are conservative now and the markets fall hard and then you want to get aggressive, now we're talking, right? And number three, make sure you have the right products in the right accounts, okay? Now we're talking about the ability to reduce taxes. One of my favorite games to play. Reduce the tax bill for you along the way, okay? Phew! And that's all I got. Yay, the new mic works out. I love it. It's a cheap one too, by the way. I just, the stupid mics are expensive. I'll just say we spent money on, instead of spending money on the mics, we spent money on something else, which when it happens, it's going to be like, why watch CNBC? I'm just going to watch Dustin. That's all I'm going to say. It's going to be great. Does Mint sell any info that would matter to the person using Mint? Yeah, they sell all your info. That's how they make their money. Not that that's a bad thing. Like, I don't know if you're hiding something or whatever, but they sell everything. Why is there two? I thought somebody would notice. Thanks, Bruce. Appreciate it. Michelle, thank you so much. Loving the new mic. Perfect. Okay, good. Geek It classes, I love it, I love it, I love it. Yep, going to be a lot more time spent on that now. We're getting more efficient around here, so I'm able to spend more time brainstorming interesting classes. And again, that's my thing. If you're watching this and you're like, I don't know about this guy, seems a little weird, whatever, know that my personality aside, I want to give you the stats. If every one of our customers, again, I don't need 1 million customers. I hope you'll keep us in mind. I'm going to press that button. Huh? See? I hope you'll keep us in mind, but I don't need 1 million customers. I want a small group of people that want to take it seriously, that want to suck every last bit of information out of me and know that they're on the right track. And then that's it. I'm going to take you all there, as we're all going to get old together. We're going to move together all the way to retirement. That's it. I don't want like a ton of customers. So I understand if it's not for you, but my goal is to give you facts. Every now and then, if I share an opinion, I'll always say it's just an opinion. Let's invest based on facts. Look, I think the second half of this year in the stock market is going to be really, really, really tough. Just my opinion. I'm going to invest the way I always have. Me personally, I'm not changing anything. Okay, so just something to keep in mind. Okay, that's it. That's all I have for you. I really appreciate every one of you watching. If I can help you in any way, just go to jazzwealth.com, click chat with Jazz. We'll schedule a time to talk with me directly. It's always me that gives you a call, at least for now. And we'll keep it that way. So if you want to move your accounts, 401k rollovers, transfer accounts, whatever it may be, if you need help with that, you know where to find me. If I've helped you in some way today, hit the subscribe button. I really appreciate it. Hit the alert button. That'll let you know when we go live at 5 o'clock now for our stock market update, 5 o'clock Eastern. And have a great day, guys. Lunchtime!